Hello everyone and welcome to Barca News. It's December 15th, 2022 and Sergi Roberto is currently dividing the Barcelona boardroom on whether to extend his contract. Also, there are reports stating that Sergio Busquets wants to leave the club in a winter transfer market, and we now have the initial decision from the European courts in regards to the formation of the Super League. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is Mo. And there are currently no World Cup matches today as both Argentina and France prepare themselves ahead of their clash in the 2022 Qatar World Cup final, and as both Morocco and Croatia prepare themselves for their match where the third place winner will be decided. Now, since there are no World Cup matches, there is no World Cup news, for the exception that Sofiane Amrabat has issued an apology for a picture that he posted in his social media account. Now, the Moroccan player Sofiane Amrabat posted a picture on Instagram after Morocco eliminated Spain in the round of 16. And the picture features the player with a sword and carrying Gabi over his shoulder. Now, it seems that this picture caused a lot of angers among Spaniards and the fans of the Spanish national team. And as such, Sofiane Amrabat has issued an official apology, and he has stated, "I want to explain that I have my Instagram account, but there's also someone else who runs it for me. They shared that image as a joke. I respect Spain a lot, and when I heard that people did not like it, I deleted it immediately. If anyone was angry, I asked forgiveness as sincerely as I can. When the people were annoyed, I decided to quickly delete it. Pedri, Gabi, they are players with a lot of talent. Personally, I like legends like Iniesta, for example. I also looked a lot at Zidane and Xavi Hernandez as intelligent players. I saw them a lot. Their movements between the lines were another level." Now, I personally think that this was a bit silly and was blown out of proportion. I don't think that Sofiane Amrabat meant any disrespect to Gabi or to Spain. I think this picture was more to celebrate the huge achievement that Morocco did against Spain, because after all, they were the underdog and yet they were able to eliminate a European heavyweight. But I'm glad that Sofiane Amrabat has owned up to it and apologized to everyone that this picture has angered. Now, on to the news that Ronald Araujo, Andreas Christensen, and Mark ter Stegen have all rejoined their teammates in their trainings at the Ciudad Esportiva sporting complex. Now, as I reported in previous videos, the members of the first team who did not travel to the World Cup resumed training last week, and those players are Marcos Alonso, Héctor Bellerín, Sergio Roberto, Iñaki Peña, and Frank Kessie. And even though Ronald Araujo did travel to the World Cup, he also joined training last week, where he was seen training separate from the rest of the group, along with Frank Kessie, since they were still recovering from their injuries. Now, Ronald Araujo left to Uruguay on vacation with the permission of the club, and he has now returned to Barcelona, where he was seen training once again on his own, because he's still recovering from that surgery that he had back in September. Now, Frank Kessie was expected to be back from injury in January. However, it seems that the Ivorian midfielder has been working very hard on his recovery, and as such, he seems to be now healthy, and he's now training with the rest of the group. Now, Andreas Christensen, whose Denmark was eliminated in the group stages, rejoined his teammates yesterday. And today, Mark ter Stegen, whose Germany was also eliminated in the group stages, also rejoined his teammates in training. Now, as I reported previously, every player that participated in the World Cup will have 1 week off from the day that their team was eliminated. So as the days continue to pass by, we're going to see more and more players rejoin their teammates in Barcelona, for the exception of Dembélé and Jules Koundé, who will be participating in the final, and as such, they're not due to come back to Barcelona until the end of the month. Now, as these players begin to return to Barcelona, Xavi is scheduled to meet with several of these players in order to discuss their futures with the team and in order to ask them to increase their performance at the club. Now, it's reported that Xavi is due to meet with both Rafinha and Ferran Torres, and it's expected that Xavi is going to ask both players to increase their level and play the same way they played in the World Cup, because after all, both players had good performances with their respective Brazil and Spanish squads. Now, Xavi is also expected to meet with Ansu Fati, where Xavi is reportedly expected to ask Ansu Fati to increase his level and return to the level before his injury. And Xabi is also reportedly due to meet with both Frank Kessie and Hector Bellerin, where Xabi is expected to tell them to also increase their level because they will be fighting for their permanency on the squad. Not so much Hector Bellerin, who's expected that Barcelona will not extend his contract past its expiration in the summer of 2023, but definitely Frank Kessie, who Xabi has asked from the club to keep him until the end of the season. However, if Frank Kessie does not increase his performance and does not start getting more playing time, then Barcelona could consider selling him in the summer transfer market. Now on to the news that Sergi Roberto is dividing opinions in the Barcelona boardroom on whether to extend his contract. Now, Sergio Roberto extended his contract with Barcelona for one more season until the summer of 2023, and in doing so, he accepted a huge salary reduction so he can stay at the club for one more season. Well, it seems that Xabi is keen on having Sergio Roberto stay past the expiration of his contract because he considers that Sergio Roberto has a very good understanding of Xabi's plan. He also considers him a very valuable member of his squad, and there are also plenty of reports stating the impeccable behavior that Sergio Roberto has as a professional. Now, on the other hand, there are several members of the board of directors of Barcelona that are against extending Sergio Roberto's contract because they have a lot of doubts in regards to his fitness, given that he's been dealing with injuries for the past 18 months. And there's also doubt about Sergio Roberto winning a starting role on the squad. And since Barcelona are looking to cut expenses, they are looking at Sergio Roberto as an affordable loss. Now, the board of directors are going to continue debating on whether to extend the contract of Sergio Roberto. So we're going to have to wait and see what the final decision will be. Now, I personally believe that Barcelona should not extend Sergio Roberto's contract, even though he did give us many memorable moments over the years and he was key to the Barcelona's success in previous seasons. I believe that the time has come for Barcelona and Sergio Roberto to part ways. But I would love to hear from you. What do you think, whether Barcelona should extend the contract of Sergio Roberto or not? So please make sure to drop a comment down below. Now, speaking of Barcelona captains, there are reports stating that Sergio Busquets is looking to leave the club in the winter transfer market. Now, we've been talking about Sergio Busquets for quite some time because his contract is due to expire with Barcelona in the summer of 2023. And as I reported previously, Xabi wants Sergio Busquets to stay for one more season so he can mentor his replacement and he can continue to be a leader in the locker room. Well, it's reported that Sergio Busquets is keen on making a move to the MLS to finish his career. However, Sergio Busquets is now considering all possible options, and as he has announced, he will not be making a decision in regards to his future until February. Well, now there are new reports stating that Sergio Busquets is looking to leave the club in the winter transfer market. However, I'm here to tell you that those reports are absolutely false. Now, Sergio Busquets' camp has already came out and denied these reports and saying that Sergio Busquets will be staying until the end of the season and he will be making a decision in regards to his future in February. And the club has also came out to deny those reports and stating that Barcelona have no intention of ending their relationship with Sergio Busquets in the winter transfer market. So if you do see any reports saying that Sergio Busquets is leaving Barcelona in the winter, just make sure that those reports are false. Unfortunately, it is World Cup. The World Cup is going on, so there's not much news coming out in regards to club football, and this causes to a lot of rumors to begin to swirl. But as always, here at Barca News, I try to filter all the news and bring you the most accurate news and try to filter out all the fiction. Now, speaking of the channel, if you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, please make sure to do so. It's free, it only takes a second, and in doing so, you would be helping this small and humble channel continue to grow so I can continue bringing you the most up-to-date news in regards to our beloved club, FC Barcelona. Now, on to the news that the European courts have dealt a blow to the Super League with their initial ruling. Now, as I've discussed in previous videos, the Super League is a proposed league that would be composed of 20 teams. 12 of those teams will be the founding members, which are the 6 top teams from the Premier League: Arsenal, Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Tottenham Hotspurs. The 3 top teams from the Serie A, which are AC Milan, Inter Milan, and Juventus. And the 3 top teams from La Liga, which are Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Atletico de Madrid. Now, the other 8 teams of this proposed league would have to qualify just the same way teams qualify to the Champions League. And this league would run simultaneously with local leagues in the Champions League. And there will be weekly matches between between all the teams in this league, and it's called the Super League because we would see all the top teams from Europe facing each other on a weekly basis. Now, after the Super League was announced, the UEFA and FIFA threatened teams with expulsion from the Champions League, and as such, all the founding members withdrew from the Super League for the exception of Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Juventus. Now, all three teams are still planning on launching the Super League in the upcoming years, and part of those plans was filing a lawsuit with European courts in order to challenge UEFA's monopoly over football in Europe. Well, today the initial ruling from the General Advocate's Office came out, and in that ruling, the General Advocate's Office is rejecting the claims of the Super League and reaffirming the monopoly that UEFA has over football in Europe. Now, what does this mean to the Super League? Well, it doesn't mean that the Super League cannot be launched. After all, clubs are free to form their own leagues and run them. But what the Super League were looking was to be able to form their own Super League and run it while still be forming parts of the Champions League and of their local leagues. However, what this ruling says is that those teams cannot do that. So if UEFA decides to expel teams from the Champions League, and if the local leagues decide to expel the teams from those teams, like La Liga expelling Madrid and Barcelona, then they would be able to do so. Now, what does this rule mean to the future of the Super League? Well, this ruling is a non-binding ruling, so it's not a final decision. The case will proceed to the European Court. Well, it's going to be decided on by a panel of 15 judges. However, in 65% of these cases, the judges usually follow the recommendation of the Advocate General. So there is that possibility that the 15 judges could end up ruling the same way and reaffirming the monopoly of UEFA over football in Europe. Now, on the other hand, these judges in the European Court tend to be more independent-minded, whereas the Advocate General usually tends to agree with the status quo and to agree with the governing bodies. So there also is the chance that the European Court could rule differently and could agree with the Super League. Now, either way, this case will continue to work its way through the European courts, and we are yet to get a final decision. So we're gonna have to see what's gonna happen with the Super League. Now, I personally am a little bit torn about whether to support the Super League or not. On one hand, I am against the Super League because I believe that players have enough matches on their calendar and don't need more matches, because players do play three simultaneous championships: the League, the Cup, and the Champions League or the Europa League. And on top of that, they have FIFA international breaks where players have to fly back to their countries to play World Cup qualification and the idiotic Nations League. So I don't think that more matches is the solution here. I'm also against the Super League because what makes the Champions League such a luring tournament is that teams get to face off against the major European clubs twice a year. And if you have a Super League where teams are facing the top European clubs every single week, like Barcelona facing off against Bayern Munich one weekend, Manchester City the following weekend, Liverpool the following weekend, and so on, it kind of loses its appeal. It will be kind of like having the World Cup every year instead of every 4 years. On the other hand, I am in favor of the Super League because, after all, I am tired of UEFA and FIFA having an absolute monopoly over football, and I would like to see clubs forming their own league, running their own league, profiting off their own work, and setting their own rules, rather than having UEFA and FIFA, which has been shown on many occasions that they are corrupt, profiting off the hard work of clubs and players. But I would love to hear from you. What do you think in regards to the formation of the Super League? Are you for it or are you against it, and why? So make sure to drop a comment down below. Now, we will end today's video with the good news that the Barcelona Femenine won their match today against Benfica 6-4 in the Women's Champions League. And with this victory, the Barcelona Femenine are sitting on top of their group, tied with points with Bayern Munich, but given the huge goal difference, Barcelona are currently in first place. Now, with this victory, the Barcelona Femenine have officially qualified to the quarterfinals of the Women's Champions League, and if they don't drop points in their final matches, they are expected to qualify in first place. So that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a like. Also, I'd like to invite all of you to please leave a comment down below, giving me all your thoughts and opinions about all the news that I share with you. And finally, I would like to invite all of you to please subscribe to the channel so you can stay current on all the latest news in regards to our beloved club, FC Barcelona. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. And as always, peace, guys.